I want to show you how I became the go-to authority for customer success managers trying to land jobs at the most competitive companies in the entire world, and how you can apply the same process to getting whatever role you want at whatever company you want for whatever salary you want in 2026. My name is Noah Lill, and I've been an enterprise customer success manager for 6 years, working with enterprise brands worth $500 million. I've helped 137 customer success managers find new roles in places like Slack, HubSpot, 1Password, and OpenAI. I've coached CSMs through negotiations that added $40K to their base salary. I sat on both sides of the table as a candidate and the hiring manager, and I can tell you exactly what works and what doesn't. And so, there's my proof behind that. I talk to customer success managers every single week who are trying to get jobs despite the difficulty in this very competitive job market. And one of those things that drives me nuts is the conventional advice, the just network, the optimize your LinkedIn, the tailor every resume. It's not wrong, but it is incomplete. It's soft, it's comfortable, and in 2026, it just doesn't work. So in this video, I'm going to explain the core shift in my understanding of what actually gets CSMs hired. This will be a belief breaker for you. I'm going to give you the 7 pillars that will save you months of frustration, hundreds of wasted applications, and thousands of dollars in lost income. You're going to walk away with a tactical step-by-step process that you can start using today. So here's the plan. I'm dropping 7 power-ups to flip your job hunt on its head while scaling volume the smart way, locking a 1-page resume framework that prints interviews, turn LinkedIn into a recruiter magnet, and 4 more coming you won't see, including how to dominate your interview presentations and negotiate without flinching. It's a rapid-fire, zero-fluff, 7-part sprint. Ready? Let's go. Pillar 1, volume. The 100 application per week strategy. All right, pillar number 1 is about volume. Specifically, how to apply it to 100 jobs per week without losing your mind or sacrificing quality. Now, everybody talks about quality over quantity, but almost nobody focuses on the math, and the math is brutal. So here's the reality from someone who's reviewed 2,000 plus resumes and sat in over 500 interviews. The average CSM posting gets 300 to 1,000 applications. If you're applying to their front door, the LinkedIn Easy Apply, the company career pages, your resume is going into a black hole. The average response rate for cold applications is 1 to 4%. That means if you apply to 50 jobs, you might get 1 or 2 responses, and that's if your resume is good. So here's a tactic: you need to hit 100 applications per week, but you need to do it smart. This is not spray and pray. This is strategic volume. So here's how this works. Step 1, build a targeted list of 200 companies. Use LinkedIn, G2, Crunchbase. Find these SaaS companies that are Series B or later. They have 50 plus employees and are hiring for CSM roles. Export this into a spreadsheet. Step 2, set up a daily application block, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11. You apply to 20 jobs per day. That's 100 per week. Use a templated resume, the same one and the same cover letter, and I'll get into that in just a second. And you customize the top third of each one: company, name, role, title, in 1 sentence why you're interested. And that's it. It takes 5 minutes per application and you're done. Step 3, track everything. Every application goes into your spreadsheet with the date, the company, the role, and the status. This is critical because you need to understand patterns. If you're applying to 100 jobs and getting no responses, your resume is the problem, not your effort. Now, here's the psychology most people apply to 10 jobs, get ghosted, and give up. They think the market is broken, but the market isn't broken. Your sample size is just too small. If you apply to 100 jobs and get 3 responses, that's a 3% conversion rate, which is actually above the average. And 3 responses means 3 phone screens, which means 1 or 2 final rounds, which means 1 offer. That is the game. Now, volume is the foundation, but without it, nothing else matters. You can have the perfect resume, the perfect LinkedIn, the perfect interview skill set, but if you're only applying to 10 jobs a month, you're not going to win. This is pure walkaway value. You can start doing this today. And if you need a job board that scrapes the entire world for customer success manager roles daily, you can check it out in my links in the description to grab it for you. Pillar number 2, the 1 resume framework. Okay, now, the second pillar, and this is one that's going to change how you think about everything. And you're going to love this one. This is pure psychology. You know how everyone says, tailor your resume to every single job. And that is a death sentence. Why? Because you're applying to 100 jobs per week. You don't have time to rewrite your resume 100 times. And here's the secret. You don't need to. The 1 resume framework is this. You build 1 master resume that works for 80% of CSM roles, and you only customize the top third. So here's how this works. Section 1, the headline. Right under your name, you put a 1-sentence value proposition, not customer success, but that's a job title, not a value prop. Instead, you write, customer success leader, drove $2.3 million in net revenue retention, reduced churn by 8% in 12 months. This is proof. This is what they should read on the rest of your resume. Section 2, the summary, 3 to 4 sentences. First sentence, your experience, level, and focus. Customer success manager with 5 years in B2B SaaS, specializing in mid-market accounts and expansion revenue. Second sentence, you begin with your biggest win. Led a book of 60 accounts generating $4.5 million in AR, 110% NRR. Your third sentence should be your superpower. Expert in translating product usage into data for executive level business outcomes and driving multi-year renewals. Fourth sentence, what you're looking for, seeking a senior CSM role at a growth stage SaaS company where I can scale customer outcomes and drive revenue. Super simple. Section 3, in your experience, this is where most people fail. They write job descriptions, manage customer outcomes or customer accounts, conducted QBRs, resolved escalations. That is not a resume. That is a to-do list. Instead, you write impact statements using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Every bullet point is a mini story. Inherited a book of 40 accounts at risk with 60% gross retention. Implemented a proactive health scoring system and weekly executive check-ins. Increased retention to 92% in 6 months, saving $1.2 million in ARR. Do you see the difference? One is a list of tasks. The other is proof that you can do the job. Section 4, skills. This is where you keyword optimize for ATS. Now, you list the tools and methodologies that show up in the job description that you've done it before. The typical Salesforce, Gainsight, Tatango, SQL, Turn Zero, QBR facilitation, executive stakeholder management, yada, 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 right? And you've all done there before. Health expansion, revenue retention. You don't lie, but you make sure that the keywords are there. That is critical. Now, this is really important. The ATS is not some robot that says yes or no. It is literally a Google Drive that organizes the candidates that come in. You still need to see everybody. You still look at everybody. And this is how it looks right here. I'll send you a screenshot so you can actually see what is actually the recruiter seeing. It's not something magical. It's literally a list of candidates that they're moving on or they're not. It's not some robot making a decision, for now at least. Now here's the magic. This one resume works for 80% of CSM roles. The only thing you can customize is the headline and the first bullet point under your most recent role. You can swap in the name for the company and the specific metric that they care about. If the job description says reduce churn, you lead with churn reduction. If it says drive expansion, you lead with upsell story. That's it. 5 minutes of customization per application. And the cover letter, same thing. You have one master cover letter, 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, why are you excited about the company? 1 sentence about their product or what they do. Another sentence about their growth. 1 sentence about why you care. Paragraph 2, your biggest win that maps to their biggest need. Paragraph 3, a call to action. I love to discuss how I can help company scale customer outcomes and drive retention. Simple. And this is the AI gap method applied to your resumes. You're not competing on information. Everybody has the same job titles and tools. You're competing on interpretation. You're showing them that you understand the business, not just the role. And that's what gets you the interview. You can grab your resume template, again, in the links below. Hopefully it helps some of you get the next interview, or at least get you more interviews. Now, the third pillar is LinkedIn optimization. And this one is also very simple, but it builds on the proof-based psychology. Your LinkedIn profile is not a resume, it's a billboard. And if you treat it like a resume, you're invisible. Here's the tactic. Your LinkedIn headline is the most important real estate you have, not customer success manager at XYZ company. That tells me nothing. Instead, you write customer success leader, $5 million AR managed, 110% NRR, helping SaaS companies scale retention and expansion. This is proof. This is why somebody will click on your profile. Your about section is also very important, not your resume. You write 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, who you are and what do you do. I help B2B SaaS companies turn customers into revenue engines. Over the past 6 years, I've managed $5 million in AR, 120% NRR, and reduced churn across 30% for 2 companies. Paragraph 2 is your superpower, my edge. You don't just manage accounts. You can translate data into product usage, understanding outcomes for executives. I build health scoring systems. I run data-driven QBRs. I turn at-risk accounts into expansion opportunities. Paragraph 3, what you're looking for. I'm currently exploring senior CSM roles at growth stage companies. If you're scaling a CS team and need someone who can drive retention and revenue, let's connect. Very simple. And here is the visibility hack I mentioned earlier. You stop posting and start commenting. Pick 10 companies, find the VP or the CEO, and then turn on notifications for their posts. Every morning, spend 10 minutes leaving a thoughtful, non-obvious comment on their content they're posting. Not great posts, that is annoying. You should add a contrarian take, maybe share a specific metric, or ask a question that actually makes them think. And if you do this for 30 days, when you reach out and apply for them, you're not a stranger. You're that person from LinkedIn that's always commenting. And if you want, you can even start posting on LinkedIn once a week or once a month. It doesn't matter. But the recruiters do stalk your LinkedIn, whether you like it or not. That is the game we are in. So people say, oh, I don't like LinkedIn. I don't want to post. It's like, okay, totally cool. Just to let you know that you are at a disadvantage because of that. This is how you hack the algorithm. This is how you get seen before you ever submit an application. Pillar number 4 is storytelling, specifically how to answer behavioral interview questions so well that the hiring manager writes down what you said. Because here's the truth. Most CSMs are terrible storytellers. They ramble, they're too humble, they give vague answers, they don't quantify impact, and they lose someone to the job who can. And here's a framework to use. Every interview answer follows the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. But here's the upgrade. You add a 5th element, reflection. This is what I call the STAR R. So situation, set the context in one sentence. I inherited a book of business with 50 mid-market accounts, 65% gross retention, and $3 million at risk in ARR. Task, what was the goal? My goal was to stabilize the book, reduce churn, and identify expansion opportunities. Action, what did you do? Be specific. I built a health scoring system in Gainsight that tracked product usage, support ticket volume, and executive engagement. I segmented the book into red, yellow, and green accounts. For red accounts, I ran weekly executive check-ins, and I built a custom success plan. For yellow accounts, I implemented a quarterly business review focusing on ROI. And for green accounts, I identified upsell opportunities based on feature adoption. The result? What happened? Quantify it. In 6 months, I increased gross retention to 88% and saved $1.8 million at risk AR and closed $400K in expansion revenue. Reflection, what did you learn? The biggest lesson, churn is rarely a product problem, it's a communication problem. When you are proactively showing customers that business value is there, they don't just leave. You see how that works? You see that's very different? You're not just answering the question, you're teaching them something. You're showing that you are a thinker. You're showcasing your strategical thought process, not just tactics. And that is what separates some CSMs to the employed CSMs. So practice 10 STAR stories before your first interview. Cover these topics: churn reduction, expansion, revenue, executive management, cross-functional collaboration, escalations, onboarding at scale, data-driven decision-making, QBR facilitation, customer advocacy, and a time you failed. If you have those ready for those 10 stories, you can probably answer most questions in the interviews. Now, pillar number 5 is patience. And this one is critical because most people quit before they even win. Here is the truth. Landing a CSM job in 2026 takes 3 to 6 months on average, sometimes longer. If you're breaking in from a different industry, add another 3 to 4 months. If you're unemployed, the pressure is even higher. But here's psychology. The job search is not linear. You don't apply to 100 jobs and get 3 responses evenly distributed. You apply to 100 jobs, get 0 responses for 4 weeks, and then suddenly you get 5 interviews in 1 week. It's lumpy, it's random, and if you quit at week 3, you miss that breakthrough at week 5. So here is the tactic. Set a 6-month timeline. Commit to applying 100 jobs per week for 6 months, and you track everything. Celebrate small wins, a phone screen, a hiring manager interview, a final round. And when you get rejected, ask for feedback. Thanks for letting me know. I'd love to improve. What could I have done differently or better? Half the time they won't respond, that's cool, but the other half you will get some really great insight. And here's the mindset shift you need. Every rejection is data. If you're getting phone screens but no final rounds, your storytelling needs work. If you're getting final rounds but no offers, your closing needs work. If you're getting 0 responses, your resume needs work. The job search is a feedback loop. Just use it. Pillar number 6 is the QBR presentations, and this one is a game changer because most CSM interviews include a presentation, component, or a prompt. They'll say, prepare a 15-minute QBR for a fictional customer, and this is where most candidates fail. Here's why. They treat it like a product demonstration. They walk through features, they show dashboards, they talk about the usage metrics, and the hiring manager is thinking, this person doesn't understand the business. Here's what you should be doing instead. Every QBR has 5 sections: executive summary, business outcomes, health and at risk, roadmap, recommendations, and next steps. So for the executive summary, 1 slide, 3 bullets. In Q4, your team achieved X, Y, and Z. Here's what we focus on in Q1. Business outcomes. This is where you show ROI, not you log 10,000 sessions, nobody cares. Instead, you say, your team reduced time to close by 18%, which translates into $200K in recovered sales productivity. Health and risk. This is where you show proactivity. Your product adoption is strong, but I noticed executive engagement is pretty low, especially in December. let's talk about how we can re-engage your leadership team. Very simple, very straightforward. In roadmap and recommendations, this is where you show strategic thinking based on your goals for 2026. Here are 3 features we recommend adopting X, Y, and Z. Here's the business case for each, and you give them that data. And the next steps, this is where you close. Here's what we're committing to in Q1 together, and here's what we need from you to make it happen. Practice this framework. Build a fake QBR for a fake customer, record yourself presenting it, and then watch it back. Refine it, and when you walk into that interview, you'll crush it. And something I like to tell my clients when they're actually interviewing is you can set the standard. You can tell the interviewers their characters, their roles. A lot of times they leave it open for you to just create. So just tell them you're a director, you're an advocate, you're focused on ROI and savings, while the other person is focused on something else. Like, you can set the standard. You can create the circumstances, the environment. Don't just go off what they might surprise you with, because it'll throw you off. Now, pillar number 7 is soundboarding and negotiation. And this one is where most people leave 10K, 20K, even 40K on the table. You cannot negotiate alone. You need someone who's done this before. Now, the tactic is this. Find 3 people who recently landed CSM roles. Reach out to them on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm in the interview process for a CSM role at XYZ company. Would you be open to a 5-minute call to soundboard on compensation and negotiation? Half will say yes, half will say no. But here's what you ask them. What was the initial offer and what did you counter with? What did they come back with? What leverage did you use? This is gold, because now you know the range, you know what's negotiable, and you know what's not. And here's the negotiation framework. When they give you an offer, you say, thank you, I'm super excited about this role. I need 48 hours to review and get back to you. Then you call your soundboard, you figure out a counter, and you come back with, I'm really excited about this role. Based on my research on the market rate for this position, I was expecting a base closer to X. Is there any flexibility here? 70% of the time, they will come up. They expect it. 20% of the time, they'll say no, but offer more equity or signing bonus. But 10% of the time, they'll say no. And if they say no, well, you decide if you still want the job and want to work there. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. And as a recap, we covered the 7 pillars for landing a CSM job in 2026. Volume, the one resume framework, LinkedIn optimization storytelling with the star R, patience and time and expectations, crushing the QBR presentation, and soundboarding for negotiation. I know how frustrating it is to apply to 100 jobs and hear nothing. I know how demoralizing it is to get to the final round and lose to someone else. I know how hard it is to stay motivated when you've been searching for 4 months. But here is the truth. The system works. The 137 people I've helped, they follow this exact process and they've won. So here is my challenge to you. Pick one pillar, just one, and execute it this week. Apply to 100 jobs. Rewrite your resume using the one resume framework. Optimize your LinkedIn headline in your profile. Practice one new star R story. Build a fake QBR. Reach out to somebody. By the end of the day, it comes down to you. Good luck.